Hi and welcome to another episode of
Breaking Down the Deck!
Yes, and you know it's spooky season.
Oh my god!
We have some spooky gameplays. Of course, we're gonna have some spooky deck packs. Scary.
Super scary.
No, but we love Halloween. We're big Halloween fans.
Oh.
We love horror movies. Yeah.
So this is our mouth.
This is our time.
Oh, time to shine!
In reality, Halloween is like a lifestyle. It's 365 days a year.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah. I have a special deck for you today.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What kind of horrors you gonna show us today?
It's not really that horrific.
Oh, okay.
It's Atraxa. It's Atraxa Praetor's voice. It's the little Atraxa, not the big one. It has 4 colors: green, white, blue, black. Phyrexian Angel, Horacy Angel, Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, proliferate. That was 2 sentences, so that's fine. Yeah, but this is the main thing, proliferate, of course. So there might be some toxic in this deck. Might be.
So not only is it Atraxa, yes, it's toxic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's my Halloween deck.
I was hoping for Super Friends, but I guess I was not that lucky.
I'm not that evil. No.
Oh,
No.
Okay. People of the internet.
I draw.
People of the internet. What is more evil? Toxie or Super Friends? In a Atraxa deck. What is more evil? But enough said.
Yeah.
I want to see your deck.
Yeah,
so
I wanna show the
let's
deck.
jump in to
Let's
the
do
horror show.
Yeah, so my Atraxa deck, Praetor's Voice. So Phyrexian Angel Horror, 4 mana cost, everything except red. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. Lots of words. At the beginning of your end step, proliferate. Very simple. So, for Atraxa to work, I have some creatures with toxic. So let's go through them first. First is the Crawling Chorus. For 1 white, it's a Phyrexian Horror, has toxic 1. And when this dies, I create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with toxic 1, and this creature can't block. And then we have a little rat, the Blight Belly Rat. For 1 generic and 1 swamp, it's a Phyrexian rat, has toxic 1, and when it dies, I proliferate. So that's very good. Then we have the Branch Blight Stalker. For 1 generic and 1 green, it's a Phyrexian Elf Scout, toxic 2. So when players dealt combat damage by this creature, it also get 2 poison counters, not just 1. And then we have the Ichor Mirror. Artifact creature for 2 generic Phyrexian Mirror. It has Infect instead of Toxic. So this creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, and to players in the form of poison counters. So let's say this would have been a 5/5. If it connects, that player gets 5 poison counters. That's the thing with Infect. And that's the big difference between Toxic and Infect. And whenever Ichor Mirror becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And that's great when you have Infect. And then we have the Pestilent Siphoner. For 1 generic and 1 swamp. It's Phyrexian Insect, flying with toxic 1. So that's good if you have a flyer, you can fly in with the poison. Because sometimes it's hard to get through if people have lots of blockers. Then we have the Slaughter Singer. For Celestia colors, it's a Phyrexian Cleric with toxic 2. But whenever another creature you control with toxic attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then we have the Bone Picker Scourge. For 2 generic and 1 swamp, it's a Phyrexian Imp, flying. It has Corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, Bone Picker Scourge has Death Touch and Lifelink. Then we have the Annex Sentry. For 2 generic and 1 white, Phyrexian Cleric. It has toxic 1, but when this creature enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. So it's good to, let's say, just remove a blocker and then you can get in with the poison. Then we have the Bloated Contaminator for 2 generic and 1 green, Phyrexian Beast. It has Trample and Toxic 1. But whenever it deals combat damage to player, I proliferate. So that's good. I connect with Toxic and then I proliferate that Toxic. So yeah. Then we have the Stinging Hive Master for 2 generic and 1 swamp. It's a Phyrexian Warlock. Has Toxic 1. And when this creature dies, I create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Then we have Sheoldred's Headcleaver. 3 generic and 1 swamp, Phyrexian Warrior, Menace. Toxic 2. So it's easier to get through with the Toxic since this creature has Menace, especially kind of early on. Then we have the Necrogen Rot Priest for 2 generic and 1 black and 1 green. Phyrexian Zombie Cleric. Toxic 2, but whenever a creature control with Toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. And for 1 generic, 1 swamp and 1 green, target creature I control with Toxic gains Death Touch until end of turn. Then we have the Venomous Brutalizer for 2 generic and 2 green, Phyrexian Knight. It has Toxic 3. But when it enters the battlefield, I may pay 1 generic and 1 green, and if I do, I proliferate. Then we have the Nimrazer Paladin for 4 generic, 1 swamp. Also Phyrexian Knight, Toxic 2. And when it enters the battlefield, I can return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from my graveyard to my hand. Then we have the Turnax Atrocity for 3 generic and 2 green. It's a Phyrexian Dinosaur. It has Haste and Toxic 3, so that's great. I can just swing away right away. And then we have my 2 last creatures, and they have Infect. So we have the Glistener Elf for just 1 green. It has Infect for 1/1. So it's great if I can find a way to pump this up with a few counters or something. And then we have one of my favorites. It's Blighted Agent for 1 generic and 1 blue. It has Infect, but it's unblockable. So you will get through with the damage unless someone removes this one, of course. Okay. So let's move on to creatures with Death Touch, because Death Touch is also important in my deck. Atraxa herself has Death Touch. Okay, so first we have the Ankle Biter. For just 1 green, it's a snake, Death Touch. Then we have the Wasteland Viper for 1 green, also Death Touch. It has Blood Rush for 1 green. I can discard this card, and target attacking creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Maybe if I want to pump up one of those Infect creatures, that's good. Then we have Grand Pulse Ocho from Final Fantasy. It's 1 green, it's a plant beast, Death Touch. But for 8 generic, until end of turn, this creature gets +1 for each permanent card in your graveyard. Then we have the Meyer Triton. For 1 generic, 1 black, Zombie Merfolk. It has Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, I mill 2 cards and I gain 2 life. And then we have Icarspit Basilisk. 2 generic and 1 green. It has both Death Touch and Toxic 1, so that's great. And now for the card to why I have a lot of Death Touchers in my deck. It's Finn, the Fang Bearer. For 1 generic and 1 green, Death Touch. It's a human warrior. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So yeah, if I get Finn out quickly and some of these 1-drop Death Touchers, things can get bad pretty quickly. So yeah, that's always fun. And since Atraxa flies and also has Death Touch, and so it's quite easy to get through with the poison if no one else has a blocking flyer. Okay, and then we move on to creatures that lets me proliferate or helps with it. So first we have for 1 generic and 1 blue, the Thrumming Bird, Phyrexian Bird Horror. Flying, and whenever the Thrumming Bird deals combat damage to player, proliferate. Then we have the Canker Bloom for 1 generic and 1 green. Phyrexian Fungus. For 1, I can sacrifice it. I can choose 1. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. I will most likely always choose proliferate. Then we have the Dreamtide Whale for 2 generic, 1 blue. It's a whale. It has Vanishing 2. So this creature enters the battlefield with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter from it. When the last is removed, sacrifice it. But you know, this is a proliferate deck, so we can proliferate the time counters. And whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, proliferate. So I love this whale. It's such a great card. And look at this beautiful foily card. Yes. Then we have the Evolution Sage for 2 generic and 1 green. It's an elf druid. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. Pretty good. Then we have the Flux Channeler for 2 generic, 1 blue, human wizard. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. Then we have an ETB trigger, Adaptive Spore Singer for 2 generic, 1 green, Phyrexian druid. Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains vigilance until end of turn, or proliferate. Then we have Deep Glow Skate, 4 generic, 1 blue. It's a fish. But when it enters the battlefield, I can double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. Super strong. If someone has like 5 poison counters, I can double that and they will die. Then we have the Gulping Scrap Trap. 4 generic, 1 black, Phyrexian Horror. When Gulping Scrap Trap enters the battlefield or dies, proliferate. And for my last one, which could be proliferate, for 2 generic, 1 green, it's a Phyrexian Boar Beast, Contagious Vorak. When it enters the battlefield, I look at the top 4 cards of my library. I may reveal a land card from among them and put it into my hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If I didn't put a card into my hand this way, I proliferate. And then we have just some creatures that I thought could be useful. First we have the Phantasmal Image. 1 generic, 1 blue. It's an illusion. I may have Phantasmal Image enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an illusion, in addition to its other types, and it has, when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Then we have the Bog Badger for 2 generic, 1 green, a kicker, a swamp, and when Bog Badger enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, creatures you control gain menace until end of turn. So if every creature is menace, it's easier to get in with the infect, with the poison, with the proliferate. Then we have the Activated Sleeper. For 2 generic, 1 swamp, it has Flash. It's a Phyrexian Shapeshifter. I may have Activated Sleeper enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, except it's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. If someone removes Atraxa, then I can flash him in, and this one becomes Atraxa. And then we have the Gigantoplasm for 3 generic, 1 blue, Shapeshifter. I may have this creature enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has X. This creature has base, power, and toughness XX. Then we have Coma, Cosmos Serpent, for 3 generic, 2 green, 2 blue. Serpent. It can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. I can sacrifice another serpent, choose 1, tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Coma Cosmos Serpent gains indestructible until end of turn. And then we have Coma World Eater for 3 generic, 2 green, 2 blue. Also serpent. Also, it can't be countered. It has trample, ward 4, and whenever Coma deals combat damage to a player, create 4 3/3 blue serpent creature tokens named Coma's Coil. So look, the first Coma is 6/6, the other one is 8/12. Crazy. But very good. If I just need more creatures on the board, then these are good. Okay, then we have a few instants. First one gives me the option to proliferate or give people poison counters. First one is Experimental Augury. For 1 generic, 1 blue, look at the top 3 cards of my library. Put one of them into my hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Proliferate. Then we have Infectious Bite. 1 generic, 1 green. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Serum Snare. 1 generic, 1 blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If that permanent has mana value 3 or less, proliferate. Vraska's Fall. 2 generic, 1 black. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gets a poison counter. Prologue to Phyresis. 1 generic, 1 blue. Each opponent gets a poison counter and draw a card. Steady Progress. 2 generic, 1 blue. Proliferate and draw a card. And then for 1, Aspirant's Ascent. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying and toxic 1. So it's nice I can just instant speed put toxic on a creature and give it flying, so the damage will come through. Then we have Blood Pact for 2 generic, 1 black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Dive Down, 1 blue. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn, because you know people want to attack or target Atraxa, so we need some protection. And we need to protect my other Death Touchers, toxic creatures, infect creatures. And when it's time, we will do a Heroic Intervention. For 1 generic, 1 green. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Then we have a False Summoning. For 1 generic, 1 blue. Counter target creature spell. And of course, we need to protect ourselves when big things are swinging at us, like a Swords to Plowshares. For 1 white, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Then we have a Carrion Call. For 3 generic, 1 green. Put 2 1/1 green insect creature tokens with infect onto the battlefield. Then we have Magic Damper. For 1 blue, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. Then we have Precious Wanderings. For 2 generic, 1 green, search your library for a basic land card or town card, put it onto battlefield tab, then shuffle. When you search your library this way, put a +1 counter on target creature you control. And my last one is a Blitzball Shot. For 1 generic, 1 green, target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. And then we have some sorceries, of course. And the first one is Smell Fear. For 1 generic, 1 green, Proliferate, and target creature control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Then we have Tezzeret's Gambit. For 3 generic and 1 Phyrexian. Phyrexian can either be paid with a blue or 2 life. Draw 2 cards, then proliferate. Then we have the Caress of Phyrexia. 3 generic and 2 black. Target player draws 3 cards, loses 3 life, and gets 3 poison counters. Then we have the Vat Emergence. For 4 generic, 1 black. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Proliferate. We have the Infectious Inquiry. For 2 generic, 1 black, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Then we have Feed the Infection. 3 generic, 1 black. I draw 3 cards and I lose 3 life. But it has corrupted, so each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 3 life. Then we have Disordered Curiosity. For 2 generic, 1 blue, but it has corrupted. So this spell costs 2 less to cast if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Draw 2 cards. And then the last one is a Culling Ritual. For 2 generic and 1 black and 1 green, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add a black or forest for each permanent destroyed this way. And then we have some artifacts. First one is a simple arcane signet. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Soul ring, add 2 colorless. And then we have the infested flesh cutter for 1 generic, 1 white. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with toxic 1, and this creature can't block, and cost 3 to equip. And then we have my enchantments. So the first one is the Inexorable Tide. For 3 generic, 2 blue, whenever I cast a spell, I proliferate. Then we have Mace's Mantle. For 2 generic, 1 green, flash. Enchant creature. When this enters the battlefield, if enchanted creature has toxic, that creature gains hexproof until end of turn. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. And then we have a simple propaganda, because people will be swinging for me, especially with an Atraxa and poison toxic infect deck. So propaganda. For 2 generic, 1 blue, each turn, each creature cannot attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 generic for that creature. And now the lands. Okay, first we have a Wastewood Verge. I can add a green, or I can add a swamp. Activate only if you control a swamp or a forest. We have Dromor's Cavern. It's a lair. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return a non-lair land you control to its owner's hand. I can have a white or a blue or a black. Then we have the Command Tower. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Foreboding Landscape, I can add a colorless, or I can sacrifice this one and search for a basic swamp, forest, or island card. Then we have the Seed Core. Can add a colorless. I can add 1 mana of any color, but only spend this mana to cast Phyrexian creature spells. It has Corrupted. Target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. So I can just buff up the infect creatures. That's good. Then we have the Azorius Chancery. It enters tapped, but when it enters, I return a land I control to its owner's hand. It gives me Azorius colors. Then we have the Orzhov Basilica, the same thing, but it gives me Orzhov colors. Then we have a Path of Ancestry. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, square 1. Then we have Murkwater Pathway. So on this side it's swamp, other side it's island. Then we have the Murky Sewer. It enters tapped unless a player has 13 or less life, and it gives me access to the mirror colors. We have the Sandstep Citadel, and it gives me access to Abzan colors. Then we have Willow Rush Verge. I can add a blue or add a green, but activate only if you control a forest or an island. Then we have the Arcane Sanctum. It gives me access to Esper colors. Then we have the Vine Glimmer Snarl. When it enters, I may reveal a forest or island card from my hand. If I don't, it enters tapped. It gives me access to Civic colors. Then we have the Demir Aqueduct. It's the same thing as with the other ones. When it enters the battlefield, return a land to my hand, and it gives me access to Demir. And then we have the basics. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swamps. And 1, 2, 3, 4 plains. And 1, 2, 3, 4 islands. So yeah, that was my lands and that was my Atraxa deck. So let me know how you have built Atraxa. And yeah, let me know what you think about my deck. And let's go back to me and Andres. Yes, so we're back and that was my deck. And
What the hell? What
it was just
the
normal
hell?
like Atraxa, Toxic, Infect, Death Touch with Finn stuff. I kind of like the addition of Finn.
Okay,
It's
okay.
fun.
The,
It's fun.
the thing was really good additional. Don't get me wrong. We all knew Atraxa is like a huge protection for vigilance and the death touch and the flying is really good. But when you mix up with the flying with the thing there,
Exactly, because she has death touch, so I was like,
So
yeah,
that
why
is really
not?
good. I did
Why
not
not?
think about it. It was really good take on the toxic aspect on that one. It was really good. It was really funny to see that swear. Like, okay, that's some spice. That is really some spice there. But still, bleh, bleh,
No,
bleh.
no. No, but I have had a lot of fun playing with Atraxa. And of course, you have to watch our upcoming gameplay
Ooh.
where I play my Atraxa deck against other spooky decks. So, will Atraxa be the spookiest? You will have to watch to
You
find
have to
out,
watch
of
it
course.
then.
Yeah, and next time Andres will be here talking about his spooky deck.
Ooh.
So hope you're looking forward to it, and don't forget to like and subscribe, support us, and yeah, we'll be back with more content.
Yeah. Bye everyone.
Bye.